You could say there's many funny things, and I mean we've got some great characters. There's some extremely kooky characters in this film. Enid is a real trip, so is Seymour, and even some of the smaller parts. So they're people that you would encounter, but they're sort of blown up versions of these people. She's definitely an extrovert. She's got a great personality in a sense, but I don't think she's a very happy person. She's very, I think she doesn't really know what she wants. She's just graduates high school, and she knows all the things that she really doesn't like and who she doesn't want to be. The only problem is she really does have no clue about what she does want to do and who she is, really. And I think that that's why one of the reasons she's constantly changing her appearance and trying different motifs and different things, and even testing out in a subtle way different personalities. Steve Buscemi is Seymour, and he's awesome. He's so great. He's funny, but I remember we were doing one scene in Cook's Chicken, and he's a great physical comedian, actually, and that's something I didn't know. You wouldn't think that Mr. Pink could really, get a laugh out of anyone, but he definitely works it, and he's incredible. Me and Scarlett Johansson, who's Rebecca, have a very interesting relationship in the film because it works on so many different levels. They're very close, and yet they're kind of growing apart, and they've spent so much time together that it's almost like a marriage. But Scarlett, the person, is so, I mean, she's 15, but she's not. She's so, she's from New York, so that automatically means that she was a fully formed adult at the age of 3. But she's really cool. She just, I feel like I'm dealing with a 19 to 25-year-old with her, and that's good because those are people that I like anyway.
Well, it's really funny because we all, like me and Terry and Daniel, the writer, all talk about how like they're going to be the only ones laughing in the movie theater because it's all this, their kind of sick humor. And I don't know, it's very unusual, very sarcastic, very ironic kind of humor, I think. They have strange rituals, I guess you could call them. I don't know, Rebecca and Enid are always finding some interesting person to follow and exploit and embarrass, just for their own pleasure, I guess. Thor is really cool. I mean, we have to have this bond that, it's like a 10-year thing. Thor and I have supposed to, known each other for like 10 years. So it was kind of difficult at first to create that from nothing because I'd never met her before, and we sort of, we've sort of hung out in the beginning, and it's kind of like we'd have Thor and Scarlett like movie night and go out for food and that kind of thing and just hang out to get comfortable with each other. But she's great. I mean, she's wonderful, and we've become so close, towards the end of filming, and it's been really nice. I think that Daniel and Terry are kind of living their lives through these two characters. It's like what they experience, and kind of getting back at all the people that harass them or whatever. It's their story. I think what makes Ghost World unique is that it's not a typical teen film, that it's not like a, bubbly teen comedy. Absolutely not, If anything, it's a little depressing. But it's more about characters, I think, which makes it so unique, is the characters are so unique, and then it's not just this kind of, these archetypal, like teenagers or whatever. It's sort of about strange people and a lot of troubled people. And
well, I would suppose that it's different because it doesn't really, have anything to do with high school or your everyday teen, either loss of innocence, finding of innocence, coming of age, anything like that. It's so I wouldn't really call it a teen movie. I don't think you can. I don't think that it fits the bill for a teen movie because it has none of those things.
Y tus trailers, visita mi canal.
Thora is a darling, as well as Scarlett is a darling. They're both, you know, besides the fact that they're both beautiful, they're really, really, really good people too. And you know, usually when you come on a set late, like I only have 2 weeks on this movie, you know, you usually, you know, there's that, you know, who the heck's this new guy type, you know what I mean, feel, whether it's spoken or not. And you know, I have to say those girls made me feel right at home, you know. What's unique about this film is that it's not set in a high school. It's not really a, you know, let's learn about sex film. You know, it doesn't really deal with your normal teenage things, but yet teenagers, I think, your less popular teenagers will most definitely relate to a lot of the characters in this. And it's not poppy, you know, it's not your everyday, you know, make a movie to make money type picture, you know.
Wow, that's, I don't know.
Well, a regular teen film probably would be, well, no, I guess those Scream 3 movies and stuff are popular.
This is not a horror film in any way.
It's not a horror film, but it's also not, those other films are never in reality, and I think this movie is pretty real.
Well, it's called Ghost World, so it's a little
Well, the Ghost World part is the subconscious or the unconscious mind. That's what I think.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, that's the realest. That's as real as you get when you go into the what's behind, you know, somebody's eyes.
There are teenagers in the movie, so that qualifies. I don't know. I think Ghost World refers to the pale and shadowy world that adults inhabit, as opposed to the vibrant, colorful world of the teen film, where the teenagers live. That has music. We don't have music. They have excitement. We have no excitement, you know?
It seems like Rashomon. Everybody thinks Ghost World is something different. It's like everyone saw this accident, but everyone has a different take on what happens with Ghost World. Can I see that?
This is.
Can I see that one? You can see this one. I want to see that one.
This is the thicker Ghost World. This is the thicker version of Ghost World. It has some crossword puzzles in it and games to play, and it has some press-out Ghost World figures that can be three-dimensional.
This is all a lie. Not true.
And we're characters in this. Let's see, should we find our characters and point them out and say how different we are
Here's
from them?
you. Mail call, kiddo.
Where's that? That's me?
Yeah, right over here. You're just peeking your head.
Oh,
in the
look at
door.
that. That's me. My character wears glasses, I think. Like my glasses. Similar. I have more hair, some more hair. I don't want to boast here. And I'm not as chubby as my character, although I'm a little chubby.
Bob works from the outside
not
out.
particularly.
As opposed from...
And
but I was
Terry, let's
thinking-
find you. Should we find
Ooh,
you?
Scary. But you know what I'm wondering?
Is this you?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, God. See, this is us. And we were really not cast for verisimilitude. We were cast for our internal qualities.
Well, you know what is interesting to me? I think maybe people really don't exist that look like that, but I guess they do.
They do exactly
But,
exist like this.
Wow,
Like that?
I looked for
Or do you
a
want like
thing
that?
I looked for a...
This is me. And that's... Now, this is amazing. This is Terry Garn. When she goes home at night and takes off her makeup, that's what she looks like. But very few people have ever seen that, though.
That's what I look like?
And this is what I look like when I take off my makeup and I put on my fat suit and go home.
Well, I don't think that we look like that, but it's okay.
Yeah, we won't belabor it.
No.
I play Roberta Allsworth, who is Enid's art teacher, and she's kind of, Terry and I were talking about her, she's sort of she'd be like an ex-hippie or the art teacher you had in high school that, you know, was always into self-exploration and always wanting you to look within yourselves, and so a lot, very mystical. She probably spent too much time in Santa Fe or something, you know. Well, I think it's really funny. I mean, I don't know if other people think it's funny, but I mean, when I read the script, when they wanted me to do it, I laughed aloud a lot, and I just thought it could be a really funny movie. I mean, similar in tone a little bit to Election, because the kids aren't really like your prototype, you know, high school kids. They're very, very off. To me, it's just that it's very truthful, and I think the story of the girl, Enid, is very truthful, and even the way the movie ends, it doesn't certainly end on a very happy note. And I like the idea that she develops this crush on this real weirdo, you know, which I think happens to girls in high school that are a little off and maybe, you know, don't look like everybody else and don't fit within the high school, you know, system in terms of dating and all that. And I really like that, her relationship that she has with Seymour, Steve Buscemi. Yeah, I definitely identify with the Enid character. I was probably like that in high school, you know, always wearing thrift shop clothing and not really fitting in with the idea of high school, and, you know, that it's so regulated, and that idea of sort of trying to find your place and feeling kind of like an outsider. And then she drifts more towards adults, because I think she's already a little grown up and a little sophisticated. And also I like the idea that she outgrows her friendship, you know, with her friend, which I think happens to people in high school too. So I identified with her. But I also identify with Seymour, because he's such a nerd. And I love that. I love his like record collection, and it reminds me of myself a little bit with like movie memorabilia. I'm really into that.
Yeah, the character I play, Seymour, and the character Thora plays, Enid, I think they are similar in that they both feel like outsiders who don't really relate to this world. And so there's, you know, that they have in common, and I think they sort of amuse each other, because she doesn't really know anybody like him, you know. He's older, he's into these 78s, these blues records, and he certainly doesn't know anybody like her. You know, I think she sort of even scares him a little bit. But it's nice. I mean, they develop this friendship, and they hang out, and they keep each other company, and it's a nice relationship. Well, I think it's a very funny film, but I wouldn't necessarily call it a comedy. But the humor, I think, comes from the characters and the situations. You know, it's very smart writing. It's based on Ghost World, the comic that Dan Clowes writes, which is a very funny but sad adult comic book. Yeah, it's got a lot of humor in it, but it's got a lot of other stuff too. And so I think the combination of Dan and Terry is really great. And I was also excited to work with Thora Birch, whose work I know, and Scarlett Johansson and Brad Renfro. So yeah, they've just put together a really good cast, and it's a good story. It's an ensemble film, you know. There's a lot of great characters in it. I guess the title refers to the world in which these characters live. It could be any town in USA that is slowly changing, being taken over by malls and cappuccino places, and, you know, slowly the town is starting to lose its character. And so the town itself is a character in the film, and it goes through changes. And so I guess, yeah, what the title refers to is that this town is, you know, a ghost of what it used to be.
What Ghost World means to me in the film has exactly, it's hard to articulate, but it has something to do with the whole decline of Western civilization. How's that for putting butts in the seat? I couldn't quite say that at pitch meetings, but it has something to do with the decline of American culture. Thora Birch is certainly smart and sensitive and fearless and imaginative. She has a lot of those qualities Enid has naturally in real life. And she was great. I mean, she was an incredible actress, I think. She took direction like a dream. It was a dream to work with. All the actors were a dream to work. I got really lucky with all the actors on this film. Scarlett's only 15 going on 35. She's like, I heard she just got cast in the new Coen Brothers movie, which is like a black and white 40s, I don't know if it's film noir or what the hell it is, but she has a very Lauren Bacall type quality to her. She's very beautiful, has that deep husky voice. She's very cool and aloof, you know. Seymour's sort of a eccentric loner. He's a cranky record collector type, of which I know many. He's based a lot on myself and friends of mine. I collect old 78s. A lot of friends of mine do. But I could never picture anybody else in this film. Steve Buscemi was the guy, and I always thought of him as somewhat funny looking, and then my wife said she heard me talking on the phone to him one day. I was trying to convince him to do this film. And she said, "That's Steve Buscemi on the phone?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "My God, are you going to hire him?" I said, "He'll do it. I'll hire him in a second, you know, if I can get the studio to go for it." And she said, "There's only one guy in Hollywood you have to worry about leaving me alone in a room with. It's Steve Buscemi." She said, "I couldn't care less about Harrison Ford, Brad Pitt, you know, any of those guys." It's like, and I think, you know, well, my wife's a little weird because she's with me anyway, but every woman I've ever talked to has a thing for Steve Buscemi. Well, part of Enid's dilemma in the film is that she's an artist. She may not know it yet, but she keeps a sketchbook, sort of a crude diary that she keeps, and she's very observant, and she's very sensitive and very smart and funny, and of course it's completely unappreciated by her art teacher, played by Ileana Douglas, who sees no value to lower art like cartooning. Perhaps Dan had an axe to grind there. That's totally his scene. I find it very funny. I don't know how to describe it. It's different. It's a strange movie in that it's, you know, like I say, it's got both those sort of sometimes broad humor and sometimes very subtle, sort of dry humor, sometimes black humor, sometimes not humorous at all. It's very serious, different. It's a real mix of different, I don't know. I hope it works.
It's a comedy, and yet it's not your standard, you know, over-the-top teen comedy. It's a comedy about teenagers that I think is something that teenagers would enjoy, but it's also something that adults would enjoy, unlike most of the movies that are about teenagers. I think Ghost World would be appealing to teenagers because I think it's about the way real teenagers are, and it's about the way real teenage relationships are. It's not a fictional fantasy version that you see in most films. And I think it would appeal to adults because it's about other things besides being a teenager. It's about sort of, you know, finding your place in the world, and it's got you know, sort of a more adult dramatic structure to it than your average teenage movie, and it's a comedy, but it's not a stupid comedy, I would hope. The main character is a girl named Enid, and she's played by the lovely Thora Birch, and we picked her because she was really absolutely perfect for the part. I mean, not only does she look exactly like the drawings of the character, this story is based on a comic book that I drew, and Thora looks uncannily like the character in the comic book, but also she's a terrific actress, and she has a quality that almost no other teen actress has, which she has this huge range of emotion that's very subtle. She can be very sad and very funny. I think it's something that everybody can relate to, this relationship that these two girls, Enid and Rebecca, have with each other, which is, you know, I think everybody at some time in their life has a friend that they're really, really close to, and then all of a sudden something happens and they're not that close to them, and they, you know, you think back on it and you can't really figure out exactly why you split apart. You had, you know, you spent every minute together and you had just some kind of a psychic connection almost, and then all of a sudden that's gone, and I think it's a really painful thing that most people have to go through at some point, and it's something I've never really seen done accurately in a film, and I thought that's something that, you know, younger girls could see this film and they could relate to the characters, you know, sort of imagining this happening to them, and older people can see this and sort of remember sometime this happened to them. Terry Zwigoff was the director of the documentary Crumb, which, you know, won all the awards that documentaries can win, and, you know, reached a huge audience for documentaries, and he you know, he was friends with the cartoonist Robert Crumb, who he made this film about, and after that he was told by everybody who worked with him that, you know, the one thing you don't want to do is to make another film based on a comic book or to have anything to do with a comic book, and he absolutely agreed. And then I guess Robert Crumb or somebody gave him a copy of Ghost World, and he just sort of got fixated on it and wound up calling me up, and we became friends and started working on this project together years ago.
Okay, let's say that we started here. Okay, what are you going to extract?
Okay, whatever you want me to use.
No, sir, you're the specialist.
Good. Then you could get the two ladies in the back.
So let's try.
Let's talk about your script, Terry.
Let's just flip through to the end.
I was scared to go from that voice to Anna Burger.
I know.
Hey, Brad. It's also good the way you did it the first time, where you improvised a little bit and you said, so where's this Weird Al guy?
Okay.
Well, it's a little bit better than where's Weird Al, because you haven't been here before. That makes more sense, something like that.
Marker, please.
Marker.
And set.
And action.
Oh, look, maybe that's him. No, it's still 25 minutes early.
God, aren't there like a million places like this?
This is the ultimate. It's like the Taj Mahal of fake 50s diners.
So where's the Weird Al guy?
Shh.
He just ordered a giant glass of milk.
Actually, that's a vanilla milkshake.
Cut.
That's good.
It's a cut. Okay.
Oh my god. Oh my god. This is definitely him. I can't believe it.
Don't, Michael.
Yeah?
Look, if you go closer again, they won't help you, know?
In on the back? You mean on the lens? I can do
Now compress a little bit in the lens. Okay.
Why don't you just cringe into the corner? Yeah, there you go. Thank you, Mark.
We're
not laughing at you. We're laughing with you.
So it's a discipline.
June 30th.
At La Park? Maybe that you were staying all the way to your second thing.
Well, yeah, probably, but no, hell no.
Today's just fighting over here. Fighting over here.
I even fought with myself today.
I'm in Claire.
I think he's like always doing something with his clothes. You guys must be having.
Great character.
That's one
like a fast crash.
That guy was awesome.
I want to see his interview
How
on
was his
Entertainment Weekly. His nunchuck again? Yeah, that comes today. The Daylights today. Should be good. Film suddenly changes from like a poignant, bittersweet comedy into a broad farce, but no problem.
Then you don't have to get up to speed. You can start back a little further.
Visita mi canal.
And action!
Getting
look and I
spicy.
went, you know, this woman will want red.
That's right.
The area to participate in a show of high school art at the Neighborhood Activity Center. The title of the show will be Brotherhood and Community, Art as Dialogue. And I think that the brotherhood theme, it ties in nicely with the theme of self-discovery that I would like to emphasize in this class. Are there any questions so far? Great!
In this scene with when she walks around, what's, because I couldn't see her face for most of it, I was looking at.
Well, I looked at her when she was
Okay, we're
over
gonna do
there,
my single
and
now,
she walked
so-
back. I'll just match what I did in the master, and if you don't like it, you can have me change it.
All right. So we'll just run the whole, we'll just run the mask. I really did like when you waved.
Looks like a theory there.
We have that.
I was just trying to get her attention.
Please, guys, for one more rehearsal. Put more than, so we have switching like that, and turn your head a little bit more towards Michelle. There you go. How's that?
Good, yeah, that's great.
Yeah, that's good.
Actually, I think it's great.
That's very good.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. Quietly.
Sorry?
Speed.
See? Mark it. Marker.
We can see you all there in the corner.
Quietly.
Set.
And action.
Who is this? Enid?
It's supposed to be Don Knotts.
And what was your reason for choosing him as your subject?
I don't know, I just like Don Knotts.
I see.
And then when we shoot, you're going to watch the performance. I think that's just a suggestion. Park. Okay, here we go. Quietly. Yeah, you remember Patty? Patty was over.
This is the greatest very rusty.
What's that chair doing there, Peter? I put it there because I'm
Staying by, I want to show Terry. So it's my go. Take a look at the frame.
What is he talking about?
On this side, but he has, well, then it's got to be blocked.
He orders his coffee and just stands there.
Well, somebody's got to block it.
There we
This is scene 46 Apple, take 2, yes.
Speed. Marker. Marker. Set.
And
Excuse me. I can't read the trivia question.
Where on the human body is the Douglas pouch located?
Slightly below the uterus.
Good remarker.
Excuse me. I can't read the trivia question.
Where on the human body is the Douglas pouch located?
Slightly below uterus on the female.
cut.
You got a friend in Jesus.
Cut. Cut.